The next discussion that goes on stage in a few minutes from now is going to be very, very delicious. Sorry, a little spicy too, because it's been powered and presented by Shalimar's Chef Spices. We have with us three very important people who are going to trace the history and the impact of Indian food on world culture through the historical spice routes. And we have with us Nandini Bhattacharya Panda, who is an acclaimed historian. We have with us Mr. Hirok Bhattacharya, who's the owner of Shalimar's Chef Spices. And in the hot seat, it's the hottest seat of the moderator. Taking us to that journey is Rakhi Purnima Dasgupta, the name that represents Bengali cuisine in the whole world. QPs, the name that she created for the Bengali household. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Nandini Hirok to be taken through in a journey, a spiceful journey by Rakhi Purnima Dasgupta.
Good afternoon. Today, we have come here in this session to talk about the spice trade, spice route, and the influence of Indian spices abroad and influence of foreign spices in India. So, I am Nandini Bhattacharya Panda. I am an academic, so I have got some historical presentation on the spice trade, spice route, and Rakhi Purnima Dasgupta, she is the moderator. She will speak on her behalf. She is a celebrated culinary expert and she is a researcher. And Hirok Bhattacharya, he is a researcher as well as he's a researcher and he procures and markets spices, Indian spices. So I am taking the privilege of introducing the subject about the spice route, coming of spices in India or going export and import of spices. Spice route and incense route and silk route were the same in ancient India, ancient Europe. What was the spice route? Actually, it is said that spice route was usually China, Pacific Ocean, East Indies, Spice Islands, Malacca, Ceylon, Calicut, that is in India, Malabar, then Arabia, Baghdad, Cairo, Alexandria, Algiers in the Mediterranean, then Lisbon, Geneva, Europe and British Isles. That is the maritime route of spice. The spice route to Central Europe started from Indonesian Banda Islands. Initially, it spanned over 30,000 kilometers and European powers were engaged in the Reconnaissance mission during the medieval period. And Vasco da Gama, talking about India, Vasco da Gama discovered the shortest maritime route from Europe to India. He arrived in Calicut, that is in Malabar, in 20th May 1498. But there were also a land route, Himalayan route. I'll come just a few seconds later. What are the spices? Spices consisted mostly of natural preservatives of meat, culinary aromatics, flavorings, and tinctures. That is, that in those, for those qualities, the Europeans were interested in Indian spices. And what were the spices? Cinnamon, cassia, ginger, white pepper, long pepper, clove, cardamom of two types, nutmeg, turmeric, black pepper, and so many other things. So, should I hand over the...
So I need to ask you a few questions about this. So we're talking about the spices that came, that people wanted in Europe, and basically used for medicinal purposes, like in our Ayurveda. Now, they used to use it, which is a fallacy, to preserve meat. They didn't use it for preserving meat. They used it for other purposes. And pepper was the main thing. But that's the Europeans. I want to know the influence on our food, which is Bengal. Can you give us some background on that?
Please repeat the question.
On Bengal.
Bengal.
Bangla Khabar. What is the spices that came into Bengal? We didn't have all these spices, right?
Actually, yes, that's a very good question. As a historian, I had gone through two texts. I mean, there are several texts, but I will talk about two texts. One is Manusha Mongol, and another is Vrindavan Das's Chaitanya Bhagavat. So in Manusha Mongol, I hope you are aware about the storyline of Manusha Mongol, that Chand Saudagar was not willing to worship Manusha as deity. So Manusha was, Manusha was determined to get Chand Saudagar as her devotee, and she took several means, mostly killing the sons and other means also. So there is one episode that Chand Saudagar's 6 sons wanted to have a sumptuous meal from their mother, Shanoka, and Shanoka cooked a lot of things. So there is a graphical description of what Shanoka cooked. There was no chili. No chili, there were different kinds of shak, vegetable, then fish, but no chili. Next, I will mention about Vrindavan Das's Chaitanya Bhagavat. Sri Chaitanya's food was described in Vrindavan Das. There we get several categories of vegetarian food, but
So
no
mainly-
chili.
But mainly vegetarian. There was no non-veg in Chaitanya's food.
Shanoka cooked a lot of fish, but for Chaitanya it was
Totally
vegetarian.
vegetarian.
There were a lot of bori. Bori, I don't know how.
Buri, of course, lentil cakes, dried
Lentil cakes, small lentil cakes. But there was no mention of chili. Only, there were paper, morich. They say
Morich, but
morich.
mane kalo morich na long pepper, which we
Long
got-
paper, I think it was long paper.
Yes, because morich came later.
Huh. But Bengal got from the Portuguese chili, tomato, and actually
Pineapple, many.
pineapple,
Yeah.
and lots of like cauliflower and
Guava.
cabbage, all those things.
Cauliflower, cabbage came from the British, but guava, pineapple, chili, tomato, all came from South America through the Portuguese-Spanish route.
Yeah. Good.
But let's talk about Tigore's influence on Bangla Khabar. Thakur Bari Ranna. You can come in because Tagore, Thakur Bari Ranna, because they were traveled, he traveled so much, he brought in so many different types of ideas into Bangla Khabar.
Yes.
Okay, so in terms of spices, What do you think?
See, as per my knowledge, like the mention, the Bengali food culture is mostly deduced or inferred from the Mangal Kavyas, whatever she said, Manasha Mangal and Sri Chaitanya's Vaishnav Dharma also influenced our cuisine. So in Bengal, between 13th and from the 15th century to the 18th century, there was a lot of um, there was a lot of modification and evolution of food culture happened.
Quite right.
Because before, as from Mangal Kavyas, we know that Bengalis were only eating meat and wine. The wine was mainly from rice, and there are other ingredients also in the wine. What we have, like today, what in
But
the
it was
local
more,
wine, yeah.
it was more game meat. Wouldn't
Yes.
it be game meat? It was not
Yes.
farmed meat.
It was not farmed meat. It was
So
not
it would be
farmed
wild
meat.
boar. It
Yes.
would be deer.
Yeah, deer,
That kind
lamb,
of-
deer, and these were the meat, the mutton, which was without onion and garlic, which was common in Bengali cuisine. And then from the East Bengal, when the invasions happened, first
You're talking about the Muslim influence.
yes. Before the Mughals, the Muslims were there, and the influence of the Muslims over there, and they brought in the spices. Then in the Mughal era, the introduction of
But also
clo-
cooking methods.
sorry,
Also cooking methods,
yeah,
like kebab,
the cooking methods were also
barbecue.
Yes.
Cooking on
for example,
stone.
I'll say one thing. The what we call today Bengali Bhadralok.
Huh.
The Bhadraloks
But that's
were
why
the
I was saying-
highest level officials who were working in the Muslim courts, and also with the high ranking officials of the Mughals. So what they did is they absorbed a lot of their fooding habits, and then they publicized it. They influenced the society at that time to change.
So do you think the pulao, what we call,
pulao, the
is
dum, the
is does come from the biryani? Because
Yes,
our
yes.
pulao is very different from
Our
a
pulao
biryani.
was different. Our pulao was what came before the Mughals came. Then when the Mughals came,
We added the
actually
garam masala.
there are some, if we go to Chitrita Banerjee and some other historians like Colin Taylor Shane and all, if we consider their findings, we will see that the from the Delhi, when the Delhi government, the Mughal government took over Bengal, they sent their officials from there. The officials from North India came to Bengal. Then our Bengali Bhadraloks mixed with them, and then they got influenced, and that actually again changed the
Cuisine.
food spectrum of Bengal. Like then the bhuna came in, the sheikh kebabs came in, and then the turtle egg. We see machar bora today. There's turtle egg fries, and all these things that came in. So the Bengal has always been like a sponge, like the European invention, first the the Arabian invention, then the Portuguese, then the Dutch, the French. Hooghly was the hub of Danish, Dutch, and French colonization over there. So their cuisine, that kind of
So আমাদের chop and cutlet.
yes.
Right.
So all these things actually mixed in the Bengali cuisine. And today what we have today in the modern Bengali cuisine is actually the, what I will say, it is like a culture which has been plated in front of us. From the
Amalgamation
aristocrats
of many different
Yes.
influence.
The Bengal aristocrats at that time influenced the society. Like today, the intellectuals are influencing our society. We follow them on different ways of life. What they do, we try to follow them. We try to get inspired from them. That's at that time also the same thing was happening. The normal people were getting inspired, and all the aristocrats used to be in the urban region. So the culture of Calcutta was different, and move more when we move towards towards Bardhaman and Kuch Bihar and all. The culture just changed. That was 30% of urban and 70% of the local culture, which was there before. So this kind of plus and minus of different kinds of people and the demograph actually influenced the society at that time.
Yeah, but where does the spices like Pachporo?
Panch Foron, yes.
Okay.
Previously, Shukto was there, but Shukto's taste, Shukto was totally different at that time. When Shukto came into being, when there was what I
They
was,
used to call it Chuktuni.
Shukto, yeah.
Absolutely.
I forgot the name. Shukto was totally different from what we have it today. Then the Persian and the Afghan influence actually changed the way Shukto tastes today. But still, it is our speciality of Bengal today.
Right.
Bengal
Like
has been
dolma.
you can say the Bengal is the nucleus of the Indian culture what we have today. Because from Bengal only, Bengal was the capital at that time, Calcutta was the capital. That influenced
But
a lot.
that is just a few years
Just
ago.
a few years in the modern history era.
In the modern
The
era.
modern history.
Like dolma is nothing to do with us. Right?
Yes. But
Which
if
is,
you see to
in
other
Middle
places,
Eastern-
suppose if you see South India and if you see West India,
They're much more pure in their
they're
food.
much more pure in their roots and the much more evolution happened over here. So
With all the influence of the different people
Yes.
coming.
different people coming. Now, I'll tell you one interesting thing that, you know, the first Bengali culinary cookbook, the name was, wait, I've written, I just forgot the name. Yes, Pakrajeshwar. It was introduced by Bardhaman Maharaj in 1831. So whatever the change of the cuisine was happening, he jotted down that, and you know he introduced the first cookbook. That followed by Mughal, the Shah Jahan's cooks, and then Bipradash Mukherjee's Banjor Ratnakar, and all these things happened after that. And today, from those things only we came.
Well,
to
my mother wrote a very good cookbook too. So
Sorry.
May I add a few things to
Sure,
that?
sure.
First of all, potato what we eat today
Yes.
was not there.
Yes.
They were all, I mean, the root, like shakalu and all those mankochu type,
Yeah.
all those things. Now they are not easily available. Number one. And number two, we have to take into consideration that cooking is also climatic. I mean, because like Mughal cuisine, they introduced it over here, but that cuisine that evolved for the Mughals in a different climatic region. But here they kind of made a fusion. They changed. The cuisine, Mughal cuisine also evolved. And for Bengal, whatever we have, like if you go through all these Manusha Mongol and others, and then there is a cookbook, I'm sure you know, Rakhi, that Vipradash Bhattacharya. Very old, actually, we had that cookbook in our house. So the type of the item, it was written in that cookbook. And later on, what was the items inserted in the cookbook, there is a lot of change. So, I mean, climatically, taste-wise, and culturally, and there was a cultural confluence, cosmopolitanism. It evolved. I hope you agree with me
Yes,
as
of
an
course.
expert.
No, of
And
course.
also this Shahib, these Europeans they
That's
had
why I
a
talked
fusion
about the
cooking.
Tagore household. The Thakur Bari Ranna is so distinct in many ways because of the foreign influence in their cooking.
Yes.
Mache roast. Well, roast is totally different from concept of roast. Na? So all those things also came in.
And also this Dak Bangla chicken. So there, I mean, another
That's
new
the
genre of cooking
Anglo-Indian,
emerged.
which again was adapted. Maybe started in Bengal, but was adapted all over India in different versions. So you have Anglo-Indian food from
Yes.
southern India, the mulkatani soup for one. That's a southern soup, but now we all have it. But basically, it was the southern soup, drink, rather than rasam, basically, and which was made into a soup. So, these influence same in Bengal. Amader chop and cutlet is a good Kobi Raji cutlet, for instance.
Kobiraji and Mughlai khana, what we ate till today.
Yeah,
And
all these
another thing is the Portuguese introduced us to the cottage cheese. We call chana today. Previously,
Who got us?
Portuguese.
That is not true. We
Then?
still don't know who introduced.
Who
chana.
introduced that?
We're still trying to find out. In fact, Chitrita,
But
and
I have
that-
seen a lot of articles.
My mother also said Portuguese, but
Yes.
we are still not very
We are
sure.
not sure.
But this
Okay.
pauruti concept is very much Portuguese.
But what about like we
Actually
used to
French.
Pau
Pau.
is bread.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
roti is bread.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a tautology.
Pain,
Yeah.
it could be French or Portuguese.
Portuguese actually.
Okay.
Pain was French for bread, so pau came from pain, or it could have come Portuguese. But that goal thing is very much Portuguese, which they have in Goa.
Yeah.
Like the goal pauruti hoy na, which we call
But
pau.
churning of milk, আমাদের society, আমাদের culture, it was not considered a very healthy thing previous invention, before the invasions, if I see, because most of the Bengali deserts were whole milk, doodh chire and something
Yes,
like
yes, they were all
Paesh.
solid milk.
Solid milk. This milk was not processed. That processed milk thing, as per my knowledge, it came from the Portuguese introduced us. And
Well,
then-
you see, the one thing is the paneer came because of the Muslim influence. Because
Okay.
by Hindu philosophy, you do not contaminate milk.
Yeah, we do not contaminate.
Because milk is
even
fed to the gods.
even we didn't add salt also previously in the food.
Yeah.
Salt was served separately. You
So
cannot contaminate.
when they cut milk to make paneer, that could also be a reason for chana,
Yes.
right? But this fallacy, or maybe truth, that Portuguese brought it, but in fact Chitrita went to Portugal to find out. And there is no historical fact that actually the Portuguese brought that from there, because their cheese is solid there. There is nothing like chana there.
No.
So that's what she told me when she was researching her book, the last book she was doing. But let's come back to spices, because we've gone on to food and we've
Yes.
left the spices.
Yes.
What would you like to say on the spices that we use today? in Bengal?
Actually, yes, I'll talk about spices, but I am tempted to speak about something because you were talking about Bengal. So Bengal, particularly in 18th, 19th century Bengal, widows had a structured life. Widows were not were not allowed to have fish, meat, and different kinds. Onion was not there before, but when onion came, so a new kind of, that's what, because we belong to conservative Bhattacharya family. I had seen and I had heard about widows. Widows, they couldn't eat a lot, but they had to eat something tasty. So there is no research done yet about the tasty food, and the spices and the vegetables widows procured from nature and how they used to cook. That is, I found it very interesting, but I am
There is some research being done on it.
Oh, I
some
haven't come
researchers
across it,
are
yeah.
doing, in fact, I met a young lady from America who's doing a research on
Oh, that's
the food
interesting.
of widows of Bengal. But basically, the way I look at it is the vegetarian food of Bengal comes from the widows, starting with the bori, because they used to make it, the widows and the old ladies and things like that. That is well recorded. All these things, like they would make different types of shark, which they were allowed to have. They weren't allowed certain dals. They weren't
and
allowed
posto they used to have a lot,
posto, possibly.
and ghee.
Ghee. But rice, they weren't allowed certain rice. They could have only,
Atuk chal,
yeah,
unboiled
yeah.
rice. Yes.
so,
And
but especially the vegetarian food. That's why we have what we call shuddh vegetarian food, without garlic, onion. Most of our Bangla khabar, most of them, is without garlic and onion. There may be a little ada, but there is really no that much moisture. That is where I'm coming back to the fact of spices. Our consumption and use of spices, very little really, unless we're cooking meat. Right? Even in a, say we do a papda jhal, what is there in it? Hardly anything. It's the shorshet tel, it's a bit of a
Kalo
cheese,
jire.
kalo jire, right? Kalo jire, shorshet tel, একটু হলুদ লঙ্কা, কাঁচা
and now
লঙ্কা,
we put
Dhone
kacha
pata.
lonka, dhone pata,
And
kacha
kacha
lonka, which was not there.
not there. But I'm just saying,
Green chilies was also not from Bengal, I guess.
Excuse
Green
No, no,
chilies
not
were
at
also
all.
introduced.
I mean, chilies are not.
Chilies were not a part of India.
so you look at our basic food habits, we use spices in a very simple manner. And that is where good cooking comes in.
Yeah.
If you cook badly and you have a lot of spices, it covers it up. But if you want a good meal and there's little spices, you can't cover up bad cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a good cook like her, then there's no problem. Or if you have all bad cooks, then you can use chef spices.
No, I'm just saying, talking about our mothers and ঠাকুমা, দিদিমা,
Yeah.
পিসিমা, ওরা কেমন করে বেশি তো কিছু দিত না?
No,
No.
no.
হ্যাঁ, কি স্বাদ হতো।
Mostly ada, ginger,
খালি আদা।
ada.
But that was also used very less. Like,
রসুন was hardly used in our food, unless it was মাংস।
Roshan was considered as Muslim food. Brahman, at least in our family.
But you're Bhattacharya, na? Not
but
like the rest of us.
influence came from that's what I was talking about few minutes back. Like the influence came from the Muslims, right? From eastern part of Bengal when they were colonizing us.
But even mangsho,
Yes.
most of the time we would cook without garlic. আদা বাটা দিয়ে।
Particularly, ওই ইয়ের
When we call
মাংস,
it
বলির
vegetarian
মাংস।
Vegetarian মাংস আমাদের হয়।
হ্যাঁ,
But
বলির মাংস।
I was reading somewhere like there's one historian, Colin Taylor Shane. Okay, she found out that she got specimens of onion, garlic, and turmeric in the clay pots during on the findings of the Indus Valley. So they used to call that a proto curry or something like this. I was just like, I don't know whether it's true or not. So during the time from the 5,000 years back, during the Indus Valley civilizations came part, I think the use of onion was there somehow, somewhere, and then it lost track in between. Maybe it happened like that. We have no
Perhaps.
idea.
Actually, there is not much research
Yeah.
about it.
Yes.
But hing, well, we also used to, put hings because hing is very much Himalayan. And
Afghanistan, one of the best.
Afghanistan. And we
Yeah.
had an expansive border trade, Himalayan trade. And all the traders, Bengal traders, they went for maritime trade at the same time.
The Kabuliwala. Remember the Kabuliwala would trade?
Kabliwalas used to come.
That was before the the sea route came into being.
But
They-
still it used to
yeah.
come till the other day.
Sea route was there.
Sea route was, but they used to come with those caravans, right?
Yes,
Yes, they used to
would
come with those camelback caravans and used to.
Even
through
in my
the-
childhood, I
Yeah,
remember, they would
through
come
the-
and
through the
hing, they would
coast.
sell hing. Apart
Yeah.
from other things from Afghanistan. Dry fruits, especially aloo bukhara and hing. I remember very clearly buying that. My mother
And there
buying
was
this.
one interesting fact about marketing, like what they did that 10,000 years back, like during so not 5,000, but when the caravans used to come with the caravans and they used to go to their place in South Arabia, and they used to market it's something mystical and from mythological source. The spices are from, they used to create stories how spices were procured. and all.
So,
it was,
can
that is
we
how they
wrap-
added value.
Actually, Himalaya is called a land of 5 treasures.
Yes.
So,
Can we
one
end
of
on
the
that?
5 is the
Can we
Yes,
end on
can
that?
end. We can definitely end.
Can we end on that?
Time's up.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we say the spices, 5 treasures. In Bengal, we have also 5 treasures, which is called the Pachforon. And
Yes.
on that note, I think we use spices very well.
Yeah.
And it's been a good talk.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kojo, 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 kojo.